got a booth here. That's cool. Oh, there's the staff here even. Okay, that's it. Wow, this is cool. You got displays, like everything you got. Okay. Get it.
Yeah, it's one of the three kingdoms of Congo.
Oh yeah, this one?
Yeah. So it's called the Kuba Kingdom. And it was the only one essentially not to be really colonized when colonization happened.
Oh.
So it was big on the rubber and ivory trade before. So this is the kings. This is the regent and this is the current king.
Oh, this is
Basically, all the items in the kingdom, the special thing is because they had time, and they had the water, they would make this. This is called raffia from a local plant. They're making different patterns for the clothes.
This is handmade, right?
Yeah, these are
this
handmade.
raffia.
These are handmade.
In my country also we are using this
Different
thing.
materials. Yeah, so this
Yes, so also
plant
handmade.
only grows in ours. But so basically when the different traders would come, like from the Middle East and everything, they would buy the items instead of like selling slaves or things like that. So our kingdom was just buying. So these are cowrie shells because the territory is actually in the middle of Congo.
Oh.
So it's not next to the ocean, but
In Kinshasa.
it's to the right of Kinshasa.
Okay.
So it's not next to the ocean, but from hundreds of years ago. Buying,
Oh, she's here. It's fine.
Basically, the cowrie shells and adding to the artwork.
Okay.
So that's why you have these beautiful
I see.
items, baskets, everything, all with cowrie shells as well. And they have different meanings.
Oh, they have different meaning.
Yeah. I can explain. So this here, it's for like the symbolism, right? So the lines there, they represent like tears of the Queen Mother.
Oh.
So essentially, the beauty and the difficulty of being like the Queen Mother. So one of the things that we're doing here is we're using AI to basically
you combine with AI.
digitally render.
Oh, I see.
So
I see.
we're able to make animations and cartoons, and so we'll be able to have the items explain the meanings themselves.
I see.
Render
Animation. Yeah.
and with the sunlight moving.
Oh.
So all of that is
I see.
done with tech.
I get it. Good.
So
You guys use some app for it, or you guys create the app?
essentially,
It's 3D.
it's our own software.
Oh, your own Samsung.
Yeah,
Okay.
So like, purchase remember, right?
Yeah, no patches.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of
This is good.
African history and the culture, especially here, people don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So the items are here mainly on display, but then so we are able to make things in different mediums now. So this is
it looks like 3D printing.
this is 3D printed.
Yeah.
This is essentially another cultural mask, a bit like this, but with a different meaning. This is in metal.
This is made.
So
Oh.
basically, what we're about to launch in Allow is for people, even without having to bring the physical goods here, we'll be able to use our tech to render it and even manufacture it here, and will allow them to still make that profit. And not just one item, but multiple items.
Multiple items.
We just let the people maintain ownership of the copyright, but be able to sell. In China and the rest of the world.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Production here when someone want to produce it from here.
So all our equipment is automated and smart. So with our own tech, and we can access it remotely. So we can manufacture any amount quite quickly because we can ramp up production quite quickly. We actually make even the machines ourselves.
Oh.
So what we display here, because we made these ourselves, so everything from the parts to the software. So we can actually just have them out here. People can play around with them. Sometimes people have broken some. It's okay because we produce everything ourselves, so the cost of making it is quite cheap for us. So we're going to have a full launch soon where people will be able to. Yeah, so you can actually control this from your phone. You can also control them remotely. We have we have a lot of different things, and so one of the things that we'll be doing is say making even these robotics with the different cultural patterns, right from the.
I see. Okay, so let me. That's cool.
So if you look at, there's different uses, right? If you look inside,
the no skin
it's
here,
the same fabric.
All fabric.
It's all handmade.
Yeah, this is handmade, right?
Yeah, if you look, these patterns are seen like the Fendi scarves.
Yeah,
Well,
look like yes,
Picasso was
there's no huge difference.
yeah,
with those Fendi.
because it's actually the same. Picasso was a big fan of these, and he took them to Italy, and they even wrote books about it. And so a lot of European collectors have these, and that's how they circulated. And you see a lot of very similar designs using it.
Okay, so these are also handmade, right?
Yeah, this is all handmade. Right. So this is yeah. So there's different, and you see the different textures because some are for the nobility, others are for just putting on the ground. See, so this is.
I see down there.
Yeah, that is raffia. On the back is raffia. So everything is basically decorated.
Something special for king or for queen?
Yeah, yes. So these are the royal regalias.
For your family, I mean.
Yeah. So these are ivory tusks. These were made a while back. So there's only two of the kind. So those are a bit like the crown. He was the son of the king, and then he was the regent, deciding the next king, and he picked him. So they both had this crown. Yeah. And then basically the kingdom is 20 different tribes. So this is the regalia of a chief, right? So yeah, they have the different cowrie shells and different attires with the different meanings. So each pattern actually, we had our own trademark system, copyright system. So each pattern is named after the family and the tribe that made it. So you can actually know which of the 20 tribes made a different pattern. So the reason why you got so many nice patterns is because it was like a healthy competition, right? To see who makes the best.
What is the raw material in this? I can see
These are all raffia. It's called raffia.
So
It's a plant which just grows in the region. Yeah. So essentially, then they take these patterns and they put them in different places. So for me, because we have these on display like in the different museums in London and New York. So when setting this up, I wanted to understand basically how the people are working hard. They're producing these. People love them, and a lot of people even come here. I find them taking pictures, right? Just because these look beautiful. So understanding basically how it should help with long-term development of the region, why that hasn't already happened. And the answer is copyright, right? So essentially when they made this design, before the copyrights were not respected. So when other companies put them on the scarves and sold millions or billions of dollars worth, they didn't get a penny. So basically now we're trying to change that with technology.
Exactly. So I don't know whether you heard about that, because when you keep about some copyright and so on, I heard that the European they're sending back some marks in Africa.
So that is a separate thing. So
I think there is some marks
like our
coming
kingdom,
from your place also over there. So
no,
they're sending
so
back
for our kingdom it wasn't colonized.
it wasn't
Officially, so it was like a system of indirect rule, was what they would call it. But basically, it was when the interior, when Belgium took over most of the Congo, when the interior of the kingdom was strong, they couldn't really just take it by force. So essentially, it was like a peace agreement. So actually, my great grandfather gave a gift, and the pictures of one of these statues. They call it a dog to the king at the time, who is the grandfather of the current king of Belgium. So the issue is, in other countries, African countries, they took the items by force, because essentially they come. Us, they don't take items by force, because
you can just give.
No, we don't give. So
Because of the friendship.
yeah, we gave some gifts, but before they arrived, they're already selling like to Hungarians and to the Arab traders who come, right? Because so they were selling some items. So what happened with us is, I think most of the items were not sold, were not stolen. But if you look at it, you see when Apple sells one laptop, it's not you buying the rights of Apple, right? So the negative part with us, what happened, I think, is that so they bought or they're given gifts of single items, but instead of respecting copyright law, which was passed in 1890, they just acted like it didn't exist, and for some of the items they built brands of it without giving the credit to the original owner. So if you look at it, if someone who made this design, which looks a lot like the Fendi scarves, and there's one symbol. If the family which made this design, was given the royalty that they're entitled to for the past decades, they would be extremely well off.
Yeah.
So the issue that happened, it's not simply about giving back. It's about the damage that was done, because now you have decades worth of intellectual property theft. If you look at it, is if a movie comes out from Hollywood, right, and you like the movie, and you decide to show it to your whole city for free, you're costing Hollywood money.
Yeah.
So that's essentially what may have happened in Alaska. So now they're talking about taking some cultural artifacts back to Africa. That doesn't solve the problem or the damage that was done.
Yeah.
I think for there's certain things, and for the items which are just stolen, and this is not just for Africa, even India has this problem, right, where they took some crown jewels. It's important that they're just returned, but what's more important is to also look at just the intellectual property damage that was done and prevent it from happening in the future. So that's essentially what we're doing now with tech. Because, if someone invents something or designs something, they don't have to be a millionaire first for the intellectual property rights to be respected. They become wealthy after the property rights are respected, right? So even Picasso, before he was known as Picasso, right? He was, I don't know about the background, but I don't think he was wealthy. If his artworks were not, respected as his, he would not have become world renowned. So basically, that's what we're trying to change.
I see.
So basically, and we're doing this not just for our artwork, but there's actually a successful Congolese artist here too, who just made some artworks for the Beijing Games, and want to do the same thing for him too. But basically, instead of just selling the one item,
You can also sell it.
yeah, we increase the number of different streams of revenue for the same artwork,
Makes sense.
and we give the profits back to the artist, the person who actually created. So essentially, for each piece that they make, they end up making a lot more money, which allows them to make more beautiful pieces as well. But also, which removes the dependence on even having to fight for the rights for one particular work. So essentially, it doesn't really matter what happens to this one piece, right? Because now what we can do is we can use this one piece in different animations. We can use this one piece in 3D printed pieces that people who love it can buy. Also, and we can not just sell it in one place, but all around the world for the artists. So
Because it's easy.
yeah. So what we're doing is we're setting up locations across Africa, where if you go to different cities, you're going to see where people selling cultural items just in the markets, right? So rather than just buying an item from them, we're providing this service basically almost for free to them, and so they'll be able to sell the artworks here in China and around the world.
Yeah, I get it.
So it increases the market and also increases what they actually keep, because until now they've been getting almost nothing for like very precious artwork. So for example, some of these raffia or I mean like this is not possible without the technology. So to essentially manufacture these items, regardless of the location, we need our equipment to be smart, and we need it to be automated, because if we are not using that technology, then it would require a lot of human time and labor. So then the end product would actually be more expensive.
Okay.
Right. So with our robotics expertise, essentially we're able to automate even the process of digitally reconstructing the item, because we have our custom robotics handling that rather than a person, and also the manufacturing, because we're not just looking at 3D printing, we're looking at making custom jewelry in an automated manner. So all the machines that we were using for that and going to use for that, we're inventing ourselves. So none of this was actually possible even before we're making it possible.
I see. So, we're curious about the hand, about the robots. I don't know whether you can tell us a little bit about
So
it.
these are just our earliest prototypes, essentially that we are working. That's why I guess here on display. But basically, these all 5 fingers are controllable. So all 5 fingers work by themselves. So these they're not industrial, so they can't hurt anyone.
Okay.
But when they're on, you can make different gestures, and you can they can interact with you. So this was just the first pass as we're getting started with some robotics, because we're actually an AI, a software company. So we have a platform which we built in the US, which grew to about 20,000 investors using it
Oh.
So it's not we weren't trying to get a huge number of users because it's about the quality of the users. So we're providing an investment service via air, and so each user is actually worth more. So from that, we invested in building out essentially the capabilities here in China. So now we're able, and we've made way more functional robotics and machines than this, which we use in our factory. Yeah. And then for the humanoid robots, now we make them all the way to the shoulder.
All the way to shoulder?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of doing the whole robot one day?
Yeah. So essentially, as we build out our
From the
own software,
hand you all the way to the shoulder?
yeah, because our idea is to build a smart factory, so smart manufacturing. So we're not going to be having people assembling any of our products. We're building the machines to self-assemble.
Okay.
So as our machines get better, we can self-assemble more things.
Okay, it's quite cool.
Because essentially, if it's not that AI automation destroys jobs, so you can use it to create higher value jobs. So rather than say having people just putting together machine parts, right? We're focusing on having people, design things, right? Which you can pay people more than those simply assembling.
It's good.
So actually, this space is going to transition more towards the experiences and the things, because now we're making these items which you can experience in VR. So yeah, and
VR.
yeah. So you'll be able to, I think we'll set it up.
I mean, is something you're thinking about, or you already made it like us to try to experience it in VR?
Yeah, so this is all the items. So essentially, all of these items we have digitally reconstructed them. So especially, people say in Congo they are really excited when they know we have this, but they can't experience this. And right now with COVID lockdowns and restrictions, they can't even travel.
Yeah.
So even people around the world will be able to experience this pavilion in VR.
Yeah.
And then another thing that we're doing is